about it a lot, but a lot of people really don't explain it. So can you talk about what that means, and especially in relation to business?
That's such a great question, and it's how amazing you just introduced me. And someone who doesn't know me, they would say, okay, well, how is she doing that? What's her secret? She is so aligned, but the truth is that this is the ideal version, right? This is the ideal version of what we're doing. Really, what's happening is a lot of trial, a lot of tests, a lot of failing, constant failing, and through failing, figuring out what works, what doesn't work. And that was my journey. I am in journey of business visibility and building visibility for projects and businesses from all walks of life for 22 years this year. So it's a long time, and long time to observe and long time to try. And I have to say, my own business is not the most successful business that I was involved in. And I think that this is what makes me a real expert in how to build visibility for someone like me, because I don't feel like I was naturally such a very natural business person, very natural entrepreneur. Things were not easy for me. Things were traditional marketing didn't work for me. A lot of things felt so off that they really paralyzed me, and I didn't know why certain strategies didn't work. I remember in 2020 when we had the New Year's Eve and we set resolutions, and I said, what I want to have the year that I master sales. I knew that I'm good at attracting clients, with just showing up, and that was always my thing. That's what I help others with still. But I wanted to really master the sales. I had this thing that I am not good at sales, and I hired coaches, and these coaches I loved, and they were brilliant people, and I've experienced them on the receiving end as they were selling their programs to me, and I responded well. But when one of my coaches, a person I absolutely adored, told me to go and sell my program and gave me a target, not only I didn't meet that target, I actually didn't do anything. And in fact, for the next 6 months, I stopped promoting my business altogether. And these are the failures that I'm talking about. It's when you are actually dealing in business with you, with who you are. And for me, the big question has always been why. So we are talking about like different levels of woo-woo. And right now, my positioning is I'm adding human design. It's kind of a little bit of a woo-woo personality profiling system based on your energetics, like your cosmic imprint. But even as I say this, I am a very logical, kind of left-brained person. I like things in black and white. I like practical implementations. I like things that I can just go and do, and I don't need to figure out or contemplate. And so it took me so long to even accept this positioning in my business, because it seemed like it's going to be too woo. And I wanted to say it out there. Just if you don't consider yourself a spiritual person, but maybe you read horoscopes occasionally, then you're going to love human design, because really it's all about the energetics, the traits that you have. And this is the wonderful thing. We have all energies that are possible in our design. Some of them, though, we are tapping in constantly, consistently. We have them defined. We're broadcasting them, and this is where we can tap into, with our brand voice and the content that we're creating. And this is something that can give really amazing direction, even though it might be completely different to the traditional marketing advice. It still could be amazingly feeling natural and aligned and just in the flow. So when we feel burnt out in our businesses, when we just feel so disconnected, if you've ever felt like this, I'm with you. I have been there several times in this journey, and feeling disconnected and feeling why, and trying to feel maybe it's my fault, maybe I just don't love what I'm doing, and what is it? So for me, the answers were in discovering human design. I was always a personality test junkie. And basically what human design is, let me just give you very, very quickly. The moment you're born, there is this cosmic planetary imprint that is on you. Like, that's the definition. Those are the things that you have consistent access to. And then you have the rest of your energies that you're picking up from others who have them defined, but you're still experiencing everything. So some people, there's different people with different energy types, and you know that some people are able to go, 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 go. Some people need a lot of rest. We are not conditioned as a society to accept that we need rest, for example. It's all about hustle, hustle, 9 to 5, set targets, achieve targets, prove that you're worth it, become somebody. And yet half of the populations don't have in half of the population doesn't have the traits in their design to prove anything to anyone, to commit to anything, to set goals and targets, and even literally just go and achieve things. And it sounds worse than it is. I for example don't have it in my design, and yet you can see I've achieved a lot of things. And if you were describing me like you just introduced me, I'm like, oh, that is somebody, but I don't identify with it because that means nothing to me in a way. I'm still kind of who I am, right? And this is it. It's something that can be a problem when you're growing your visibility in your business, or you can see that as a blessing. So you can see, hang on a second. So if I'm not designed to set targets, to achieve goals, can I be more in the flow? Can I be doing things intuitively? Can I listen to my body when my body says, like a whole body yes, for example, to something, and light up, and I know that this is the way to go? And the other times when it says no, and I listen to it rather than override it with some sort of logical reason why to do this, that, or the other, which usually will bring me to something that doesn't bring the results I want, will feel really overwhelming, burn me out, or even cause marketing paralysis that I described happened before. And that's maybe what the alignment is. It's just knowing what your natural energy potential is, and working with it as opposed to against it. As an example, I don't want to go too deep because human design doesn't have the shallow end, right? I do have a very small free mini course for you to just get your head around the energetics, learn what your type is, and what are the business energetics that come with that. But I belong to a small group, 20% only of the population, called projectors. And projectors are not born to do, build, create, follow through, right? They're here just to be. How crazy it is when you think about traditionally how we are taught life and business and work needs to be, that you need to go and do something and create this, that, and you're actually here just to be, observe. So this strength is, I can observe, I can scan others, I can see deep into the other. I see what needs to be tweaked for them to be more efficient, more aligned, more just do things better. And I see sometimes these things better than they do themselves. And that's my role. My role is to be, to see, to guide, and not to initiate, and not to build and do things every day. I need tons of rest. I work in these bursts. That's what I've discovered. Not that I've discovered, I've always been like this, but I've observed this based on what I've learned about my type and human design, that I work in creative bursts. So for example, today actually is a great energy. I feel like yesterday was the 22nd of June 2022, wonderful date, and I just had this portal opened, and I had all these opportunities and great interviews, and I wrote a wonderful article, and I just felt so excited. And today this energy continues. Now I can get up tomorrow and I will have absolutely nothing to give, empty, because my body needs rest. So I can't be creative, I can't do anything. I might do some, I call it donkey work, these things are not really impactful, small little maintenances, but nothing of, I can't create content, nothing of impact, nothing where I can really pour that authentic brand voice that I have, that change somebody's life, because my body needs to reset. And I used to be very resentful towards myself for that. I couldn't believe why there could be periods of 3 weeks that I just have no inspiration to create content, and I'm supposed to be the queen of visibility, as they branded me a couple of years ago. And this explained it. So nowadays I don't freak out when I have this period. I just know that, okay, now I feel I'm in the zone. how can I use this in the most efficient way, prioritize things that will move my bottom line, they will really be beneficial long term for me. So then, and maybe create systems, even if I don't have the energy to follow through the whole thing, maybe I can create a system, maybe I can outsource some of this. And so maybe tomorrow when I wake up and there is no energy available to me, I can just go and rest. And now I realize that I'm living the dream life that I've always wanted, the life of flexibility and freedom. Because I'm working with these energy patterns, that means that, so what, tomorrow is Thursday or Friday or Monday? So what, it's not the weekend. If I feel I want to do something that is just for me and not for work, I can't afford this because I'm doing so much during my portal open sort of times. And that's how projectors do it, and this is the alignment that I found personally for me.
It's interesting because I am not a woo person at all. I like to say woo because I don't know. I think people freak out about like spiritual, but like I'm not at
Yeah.
all. And when I started learning about human design, everything like I could everything made so much sense. I was like, so I'm a manifesting generator, and so like but more on like the manifesting side of things. So I like to just create, and I thought that I was just like a hot mess, or I was lazy, or whatever, because I could even set up the systems, like you said. Like I could give you a whole workflow. I could tell you exactly, I could think of just crazy like automations to make those workflows work, but to go and put them together every day was just, it was not going to happen. Maybe I could do it for a week or two, but like I had to learn that I am not supposed to be, and I don't say the worker be as a negative. I say it as I am not going to ever be able to do the same thing day in, day out to get from A to Z. I can build the initial I can come up with the initial A to Z. I can kind of see where it's going to be, where I want it to be, but I can set up the initial, but I can't do that, the day-to-day implementation of every single little piece and part that needs to be done. And once I realized that it wasn't like a personality flaw, or that it didn't mean I wasn't meant to be an entrepreneur, I started hiring people who were generators, who could sit there and
Yes.
do those things. I mean, we have a video editor. I love video editing, but I cannot sit there and do 3 months working on one same client project. And I thought it was a flaw, of like something was wrong with me. And that, so when you hire a video editor who's a generator and can sit there for 3 months doing the same project, and you're like, okay, there's actually nothing wrong with me. I just not what I'm meant to do. All of us are meant to do something different, and us joining forces, whatever that looks like for somebody's company or life or family, that's kind of what makes the whole hive work, like. And when it just took so much guilt off of my shoulders when I realized that.
I love this example. And as a manifesting generator, you're not to pigeonhole yourself. Whatever you do, you need to switch things up. You're just going to get bored out of your mind if you're doing one thing. And that's why you can't finish things. It's just, putting yourself in this one box, it's suicidal for a manifesting generator. So, and you can handle so many things at the same time as well. Like, I admire manifesting generators. I think it's what every projector wants to be. Although everyone, honestly, your design is the best for you. That's what I've learned 100%. So I wouldn't swap with you. I'll just admire you from the side. But the generators as well. The generators are a wonderful group, and they are here to build, to create, to follow through, as long as they love what they do, because then they will feel so much satisfaction from doing that work day in and day out. They go to bed, they wake up, and they're like, yes, I want to do this. And it fuels their consistency because they're into what they're doing. So if you're a generator, for example, and you don't feel like this, maybe you're focusing on something that frustrates you instead. And it's this is the key. If we talk about online visibility and human design, for example, I love the topic of consistency, because it's not just the available energy, but it's also what are you focusing on. So as I mentioned, if you're a generator, are you focusing on, things that frustrate you? If you're a manifesting generator, are you focusing on things that you think you should be doing? That there's something that they say you should be doing, and you feel embarrassed that you can't, you want to throw things halfway done and go do something. But you can switch things up. You can do a little bit of that something, go do something else, and then if you feel inspired, come back and do a little bit more of that as well. There's freedom. Nobody has a prescription how you should be doing things, right? So you really have this absolute freedom to do whatever you want. And as a manifesting generator, you are too fast, too like a big firework. You can't put firework in some sort of organized form. You need to let it shine, right? So and it's so interesting. If you're a manifester, manifestors have this voice, even though they often don't associate with someone who is here to lead and ignite and start things, because probably when they were kids, their parents, it was too hard to handle a manifester. My nephew is a manifester, so I know before they start speaking, they are just so frustrated and angry that nobody understands them, and the parents sometimes kind of put them down in a way, and tell them not to use their voice, but they have the voices, and the voice is amazing, and they don't even need to feel like they are the leaders. I sometimes talk to manifester, and immediately after that, I feel I am ignited. I'll go and do what I needed to do, what was on my list. And before that conversation, I had no energy whatsoever. So this is a gift. It's like I said, projectors are here to guide, to be, to observe. Manifestors are there to ignite people, but you don't have to do anything even. You just have to be creatively inspired and talk about what comes into your head. How amazing is that? And with consistency as well. So if you are for example, if you are a manifester and you're using your voice, but you're feeling angry, feeling this rage, if maybe that people don't understand you, or maybe, you just feel this passive aggressive sort of thing towards someone, that's something that's going to block your creativity. You really need to watch what's going on in your mind, in your body. What are you focusing on? Are you focusing on trying to be in the feeling of alignment, which for manifestors is peace? For projectors, it would be success. Projectors get very bitter when they offer advice to someone and they didn't ask them for advice, because projectors need to be invited into giving advice. And I think it's very important here, if any one of you guys know about human design, and maybe you know about projectors and being invited to something, that doesn't mean that you need to be invited to create content. That is how you get invited, because people need to see and recognize you and your unique value for who you are. And it's only going to happen when you show up. In fact, Kate, in our last interview that I mentioned in the beginning, in 2020, when pandemic started, I felt so paralyzed. I was just empathetically picking up on this world fear. Not that I was myself very worried, but I just felt something was wrong, and I just felt I couldn't do anything. And what I did is I created a video series called Restore Normality. It was maybe a month long, just to shift my own energy. And what happened to me as a projector, from being visible, from doing this every day, showing up, and of course I was talking about my area of expertise because you couldn't stop me, and but that's how Kate saw me and invited me to do it was a personal branding summit or something like that. So that was one of the opportunities. Was really, really great connection with Kate. I had a Forbes feature for staying visible in uncertain times. Never even thought that this is going to happen this way. But it was all about just showing up, and showing up doing it for yourself, and not to get sales, to attract clients, just authentically sharing your value. And that's one of the examples how you can, as a projector, create content, focus on things that put you into zone, like light you up, do it for yourself, and through that you activate your magnetism just like that. It's amazing.
So talk to me a little bit about, because you talk about kind of magnetizing, becoming a magnet and attracting your ideal clients. And when it comes especially to human design, I've read a little bit. I started thinking more about the types of clients that I not only attract, but that I'll actually take on, right? Because if we do like a video production for somebody's course. It's a several months of working very closely with them, and so if it doesn't vibe, if it's not really an ideal client, then it's not as it doesn't flow as easy. It's just a little bit more difficult, and we're not in we don't have that rhythm, that creative rhythm. So how does somebody identify based on their own human design type, or even if they don't know much about it, how can they start to think about how to identify what those ideal clients are, aside from the typical like client avatar like workshop that we all do like in the beginning? How can they start thinking about that?
It's such a great question. Such a great question, because really an ideal client is a person you can cope with, not tolerate that causes you resentment, but cope with all their little quirks, and you just love them and accept them the way they are, right? And they're in your life for a while, and they don't stress you out, you don't stress them out, and something magical happens out of this interaction. That's what ideal client really is. So yes, looking at your own human design, you can determine what kind of people are the ideal clients for you, and everything has to do with the energetics. For example, as a projector, for me, my ideal clients need to see my value. So even when I'm having those low moments when I don't see my own value, which is very typical for projector, um, I they will give me encouragement that I don't have to do anything for them. It's not about how many hours I spent on them and on their projects. They just want me on board no matter what, because they see that value. And having a client like that is amazing. It makes me feel really good about myself, which in turn it fuels that creativity that I put into what I do for them and in my own visibility in my own life, and I just feel recognized and successful, and that's my signature feeling of alignment. So that's how it works. Manifesting generator, let's talk about you. So you have this energy that is, sometimes unpredictable. Sometimes you want to switch up things and you want to do something else. Your clients, ideal clients, they need to be people who are prepared to make shifts with you, that are not expecting you to just stick to one thing. They have to be flexible, and they have to honor that you're like this. They have to love you for your changeable energy, because that will bring more opportunities. If they can recognize in you that the fact that you're not sticking to one thing for too long, it actually means that you have more that you can maybe think of and create for them. It's not just this one thing. So people who are expecting rigid contracts and just this done and nothing, there is no creative process involved, no brainstorming and bouncing off each other, they're not going to feel very good. Does it resonate?
I I I want you to, when we have an executive producer who's like super generator, like spreadsheet queen, so organized. And it's nice to have her to temper some of my outside of the box thinking, because she lets me just kind of go crazy and brainstorm. I have creative director JJ who's like the same way, and I don't know your human design type. But Sarah, then she makes sure that like the business is churning, like the revenues, the organized things are happening, and then she helps to implement the things that actually end up sticking that we come up with. But I think in the beginning it took her a while to be like, okay, this is just part of the course, and this is just part of it, and I haven't talked to her about human design. I should probably do that. I should get her on with you and say, listen to Juliette, because it's not like we're trying to drive you crazy. This is the way that we are.
But generators, when they're into what they are doing, when they're satisfied with what they're doing, the most important thing, I think, is to acknowledge that you really respect and love their input, and what they're doing is valuable for you. My sister is a generator, and I know she's currently in a company where her and her company owner have really really good relationships, and how she said to me that he respects her and he listens to her and he really values her, that was just that tone, that was in itself telling me this is what an ideal client or an ideal person for a generator is when they see that your contribution is very valuable. Actually, my accountant is a sacral generator, and I love her, Melina. She is lovely, and she always, where I cry in a fetal position because I don't like the numbers and I get so frustrated and my energy is completely depleted. She steps in and without any drama, just follows through, and she will get everything that needs to be done. She'll get it fast. She'll get it the way I need to do. And she just has so much patience for me. And she says, "Oh, yeah, you're creative." She's not really into human design to explain these things, but I just find that I always tell her how I appreciate every time. Sometimes it could be a Saturday or something, and she'll researching. Something comes to my mind, and she'll go and research and give me all the information I need to implement this. So I love the person and the contribution in my business because this creates a space for me to be creative to make money, right? So she can manage my money, basically.
That's who you
and
want in
and
charge
this
of the
is so
money.
amazing. I needed someone. I thought I needed to be in control, but actually it was the best thing I've ever done. Was I hired an accountant, because that was the part of me that, if I had to do my accounts, I would think about it for a week in advance of the day when I said I'm going to do it, and then I'm going to be doing it, getting really confused with the numbers. Once I cried, it was awful, and now I don't have to do it. She sends me reports. She says, "Juliette, have a look at the reports," and I'm like, no. No, I so trust this woman, and I know she has the integrity, and I know that's the ideal client. I'm the ideal client for her. I see her. She's the ideal client or collaborator for me. So it's all about really your energetics in that respect. With manifestors are lone wolves. Their ideal clients are people who understand that there's not going to be too much hand holding, that they can disappear for infinite of time. So anyone who expects something to be super consistent and they have to be there all the time, maybe manifestor is not really a great coach for them. But I would love to have a manifestor coach, because they ignite. As I explained, you can just talk to them about something else, and then you feel like, okay, I am ready, like actually I can do that. So I feel like there's an initiation, and I don't care if we don't talk every week or don't see each other, and I don't care if they pivot every 5 seconds in their businesses because something new comes in, because that's their nature. So I would be an ideal client because I would understand that this person needs so much freedom, that this is not someone I can be constantly holding on to, and this is not going to just ruin our relationships. I think personally that I've never in any other system came across this explanation of who your ideal client is, because from one hand this is kind of natural, but we never are taught or taught to consider this when we're hiring somebody. And so then when the red flags happen, we start overriding with our mind, overriding all these things, whereas our body already knows maybe this is not the right person, because they just literally, they either don't see your value, or they don't appreciate your input, or they don't appreciate that you are very creatively diverse. That's the word I'm looking for,
I like
manifesting
it.
generators. And that's something that's important. So then the more we work, and obviously if you will see, you have to work with a bunch of people to really see who are your people, but you notice that your people stay on board for so much longer. They just want more of you, you want more of them. It's a mutually beneficial thing that goes beyond the money,
Yeah.
beyond
Yeah.
the money.
So talk to me a little bit about, well, a lot if you want, but about visibility, because in the video space, we take mostly clients who are, they had some sort of success, usually in business somewhere or in their career, but they've never really done, they've never shown up on video on any consistent basis, right? They've never done a lot of the things that we in the industry are so used to hearing about that we need to do. So there's a lot of anxiety or doubt around them showing up authentically, them being able to attract those ideal clients through the content that they're doing and through them showing up. They're almost worried about the opposite, that they'll show up and they'll repel the people that they actually want. How does somebody start to show up in a way that is aligned to them? How do they make that actually happen day to day? What does that actually look like?
I love this question. There's two stages to this, or two ways to approach this, and you can't do one without the other. So one of the things that you need to understand is that everything is a learned skill. Your confidence on camera is a learned skill that you will master over repetition. So if you're not doing it, you're not going to get better. So you need to allow yourself to be imperfect. You need to allow yourself to suck a little, and I'm sure with Kate's help you're not going to, suck that much, but you have to allow insight, because we are all right now, I am feeling not 100% confident. Like if I really tuned in and said, Juliette, how are you feeling? Are you like super confident? You don't care about anything? Not at all. I'm talking to a piece of plastic. I have to look down there because, the camera, Kate is there. And I'm thinking, oh my God, like, am I turning there too much? All these things are going through my head, right? You probably wouldn't even believe me if I said that I don't feel 100% at ease. But it's a normal thing. So you have to allow yourself that you're not going to be at ease, that this is part, it's like performance. If you've ever performed on stage or did any public speaking or even speaking in front of a group of people, there's always a little bit of nervousness. It's okay. It's adrenaline and it's good for you, right? It's good for you. It's what makes you a little bit more, less kind of like a veg. So it's good for you. The other thing is then how to show up authentically. And I love this because it's such an overused in marketing word, and a lot of people, and I'm not shaming now anyone, right? Whoever comes up with their own systems and their own concepts, it's all great because we have to express our wisdom somehow. But I find that nobody can tell you how to be authentic. You are already authentic. What human design did for me is, and it's mind-blowing, it actually, based on the human design, we have such a thing as a profile. It's just little small variables in our energies that give us this, create these two lines. I'm explaining it probably completely wrong for a human design expert, which I'm not, right? I'm a marketer with obsession with human design, but that's how I see it. So we have this profile. It's like a costume that you wear. It's like you choose the outfit and you think you look a certain way, and that's your first line. That's how you perceive yourself, right? But then somebody from the outside will look at you and say, oh my God, what is she wearing? Or they say, my God, I love this is so amazing. And it's so, but the way they describe it is different because they see you in a slightly different way to how you see yourself wearing exactly the same outfit. Even so how they see yourself, how they see you, it's more your subconscious personality, some subconscious behavior. And that's the second line in the profile. So there's always two numbers. There's 6 lines altogether. And it's like a hexagram. If you know Chinese book of wisdom or hexagrams, the lines, some of them are straight, some of them are with a break. I don't even know how to properly explain it. But there's 6 lines, right? So 6 types of energies. So line 1 is foundations. It's all about, I am line 1. I'm line 1 and 3. I have my conscious line. So 1 is all about knowing the core solid foundation. If you don't know the core of this, not all the fluff, not all the BS, not all the industry discourse, but actually the core, what matters and what doesn't matter. When you know that, you can create a lot of wisdom, your unique perspective on that, by sharing it with others. It's a line that's first 3 lines are the lines that karmically here in this lifetime to experience life and serve others by sharing their own experiences. That's a mind-blowing concept, because we think that we have to always teach, but you don't. Sometimes you can just share. If you have line 1 in your profile, if you have line 2, line 3, you can share. Or line 2, let's talk about it. That's a great line because it's we call it the natural. It's the line that is very good at something. They usually discover this talent that probably overnight they master. They're so natural at it. They cannot explain exactly how they do things. Like they could be, say they make a fantastic, I don't know, soup of some kind, right? And everybody else using the same recipe is just not as tasty how those people get it. But line 2 is just amazing, but they don't know how to do it. So they can show things. Again, it's something that goes through them and through their own experience. It's not about teaching, it's not about explaining, it's about demonstrating, because they're constantly want to be like in this dance, like a dancer, embodying the movement, embodying what's happening, the process. How amazing. Line 3, Line 3 is all about bumping into life, bumping, bumping, bumping all your life. You're learning, and you're here to learn what works, what doesn't work, and to share it with others. So my profile is 1-3. I see myself more like I'm researching all the time, I'm learning all the time, I'm trying to get to the core of things. But people look at me from the side and they say, Juliette, she's not afraid to fail. She always, pivots like so many times. She changed things because, she said, this doesn't work. Now I've experienced it. Yes, I know last year I said it works. It doesn't work now because I now know, because I went through this whole, circle, and I see that actually most of it is superficial, or most of it is this. So for me, with 1-3 profile, the way to show up is to really empower myself to share and talk about myself, not necessarily create trainings that are laid out for other people, because that's not my karma. Ever since I really embraced this, and it was about maybe 8 months ago, I pivoted into human design, marketing and human design a little bit. And I said, okay, I'm going to live this experiment in my business. I have this 1-3 profile. I'm going to share things. And in everything I share, I'm going to share it through my own experience. I'm going to write blogs like this. And I wrote an article for Entrepreneur. It was my first human design article. I was pooping bricks. Because I thought human design is real woo-woo. They're not going to accept that. And then I had such a, it was a first person reflection, really, that article. And I really was so insecure about them publishing this article, and it took about 6 weeks for them to, it's a process for them to publish it. And then I'm getting an email that it actually is getting published, and I published another one since, and there's another one due now for me to submit. And it's amazing because, when I talk about myself, I allow other people to kind of demonstrate things, show them what's possible, show them what maybe not possible, and also show them that there's no failure, that there's different ways of doing things, right? And it's not, people think that failure, it's like that's it, but it's not. There's a wall, right? You're trying to go through the wall. That's what you're doing when you think you're failing. All you have to do is change your direction. That's all you have to do. So that's how this would work. And let's go and talk about the lines 4, 5, and 6, because these are the lines that live their life for the others in a way. So their experiences that they're processing and everything that happens, it's all focused on other people. Line 4, it's all about connections, called the networker. And I'm actually thinking I'm using my own marketing archetypes, not the human design actual definitions for these lines, but that's okay, bear with me. So line 4 is all about connection. It does a lot of things from the place of love, heart. It's someone who would be in the middle of the group, have a lot of, great web of people. And here's an interesting thing marketing wise. Line 4, the stranger meets line 4, their opinion of them or impression of them is completely different than if you get to know a person with a line 4. When you get to know them, the world opens up. And from a sales and marketing perspective, a person with a line 4 cannot sell to strangers. You have to focus on the nurturing process, right? So in your visibility, in your videos, you would be focusing on the nurturing process. You can share, you can celebrate others, you can do collaborations, you can talk about just talk about things that you do with people, because and build that web of people. If create a Facebook group as well, like the more people are in your world, the more people will come to you through, and opportunities and invitations through that network. And that's your key, to focus on nurturing that network of people. So you can do, I love nurturing cycles because you don't have to sell. You don't necessarily have to sell. You can just talk about things that you're enjoying in your business, that you love, all these little things that really light you up. But you don't have to necessarily, now we're going into the sales part of the video. Maybe you do it, but it's not a focus when you're in a nurturing cycle. It's more about building the relationships. And if you lean more into that as line 4, you will see how many more people will come through your network into your life, and you'll attract the clients into your business. Then line 5, probably the most complicated line. It's also for other people, but it's a complete opposite to line 4, because line 5, when you get to know it, you literally don't see who they are. You start projecting your own things at them. They're like a tall mirror, and you see yourself, you don't see them. And that makes it a little bit more complicated, especially in terms of marketing. And so but they are amazing leaders, and they're great at finding solutions. These people are the most gifted solution finders that are possible. My husband has a line 5, it's his unconscious line, and literally whatever I say, even if I don't feel it's a problem yet, he already has a solution. It just comes so naturally. So for line 5 in marketing, showing up and teaching people and talking about practical solutions, not long-term vision necessarily, but like right now, how can this thing be fixed right now? What are the practical solutions? They're very good at that. And so leaning more into that, how can you offer immediate results and I'm talking about small, tiny results, because the big long-term results, they happen when we have like a series of small aha moments, shifts. So focus on those and offer them in your marketing. And also very important, if you have a line 5, because you're living in these projections, right, you have to worry about your, not worry, but you have to look after your online reputation. Create the shiny cover, create the position of authority, create something that you control. They will, and also be very, very clear about boundaries and about what you deliver and what you don't deliver, because people project, they will see you as a savior even though you didn't promise something. So you have contracts in place, have set your boundaries, that what you're helping, because you don't have to fix everything just because you have this gift for fixing. You're not here to fix everything. You have to follow your type's strategy and authority. That's actually the biggest thing in human design. We didn't talk about it, it's just too big, but really every type has their own strategy to follow. Like I mentioned, projectors need to be invited, manifesting generators need to wait to respond to something on the outside, then they can act. So these are the things that you need to follow. When you follow that, then you know what to fix and what not to fix, where you were invited, where you weren't, right? So this is so, so important. And then let's move to line 6. And line 6, again, it's also a teacher, but it's a different type of teacher. It's a visionary teacher who has sometimes a little bit disconnected, a little bit too much long-term vision, not a practical thing that's right here. But these people are, no matter even what their age is, they're so wise. It's amazing. I sometimes meet someone in their 20s and they have a line 6 in their profile, and they are so wise when they share what they see in the world or in whatever they're doing, that it's like you're seeing like elder of the tribe in that young body, which is amazing. So line 6 is a visionary. It starts there's 3 trimesters in line 6's development. First is like line 3, it bumps into life, it suffers a little bit, it learns that there's, things don't work out sometimes. Then it has maybe 20 years where it's all being processed. So sometimes they just want to be left alone in that stage. They need that time to just process things. And sometimes in visibility, if you're in that stage, you have line 6 and you may be in that, 27 to 50 years old, you might feel like, I just want to be left alone. But you have that wisdom to share. And that is your duty here. And that's how you're going to embody your energetics and create that magnetic client attraction, or any attraction, good stuff attraction in your life. If you lean into sharing your wisdom, share it with the rest of us, because that's your role here. You're here for other people to share that vision that you have, because someone like me, I'm there just with the foundations, like I'm always looking kind of down and thinking about how solid it is. I sometimes forget to think about the bigger vision. I sometimes think like, oh my God, I'm so disconnected, I don't have this big vision, why am I doing this? But someone with the line 6 can come to me and say, hey Juliette, but think about this is what's happening in your life, this is where you're heading, everything points out to this direction, you're doing really well, and encourage me and keep me going. So that's you. In your visibility, you can also create trainings, and actually for likes, you need to create very structured trainings. So courses and things like that are really, really good to do, because you have the vision, and it will be sometimes difficult to explain unless you break it into some sort of methods and systems, and create your own things that you can explain. I love these abbreviations, like I have an invite method, and you can create then you can explain what you're doing in a very interesting way, but then it becomes more clear and it has some sort of form, because it grounds you a little bit. So these are kind of general advice, and of course individually we can go so much deeper into this. And one of the offers that I have is called Marketing Blueprint by Design. It's a report, so about 20 pages of text, that all these things are laid out based on your individual design. So that's something, if you're interested, we're definitely can dive in more. But I hope that I gave you just even an example of what direction human design can give you in your marketing and visibility and business.
I love that. And I don't think I have that offer from you. So I need it. And of course,
Maybe
we'll
not.
link it. Yeah, we'll link it in the comments and show notes and all that good stuff. So if you're watching, check back in a little bit and we'll make sure to link those. But there's so there's so many layers to human design that can help you in your business. I know that I learned how to know whether something was a good or bad idea by following like these waves, and like I would give it a certain amount of time, and now I follow this before I make some crazy decision and shift the whole entire thing.
You're an emotional manifesting generator, right?
Yes.
Emotional,
So,
yes.
So, like learning things like that, how to show up visibly in a way that I had never heard those explained like that. And that's so poignant of like, this is how you can come across visibly and feel good about it. You don't have to do what the YouTuber Joe is doing, or, that guru over there is doing, because it's going to be totally different than what your strength is.
That's the worst mistake we can do. Is it's great to be inspired by what other people doing, but when we say, and I was the one who was saying that about some specific people that I love so much, and I would say, if she could do it, I can do it exactly the same way. But I couldn't, because I'm a projector. She was a manifesting generator as well, like you, Kate. And I couldn't possibly do what she was doing. It would be a suicidal thing for me. I would have no energy. And I've learned that the hard way, because I tried, right? My life made me try everything that she was teaching, and it didn't work out. So now I know it doesn't work for me. But yes, it's so really amazing. But I have to say as well that human design is, I probably already said, doesn't have a shallow end. But you don't need to go too deep in order to have real practical advice. So human design is great for personal development. There's a lot of areas that we can, decondition. We can really tap into our own potential. But for your business, knowing even the lines and so that's your brand voice, right? That's your brand, how people perceive you, and really leaning into how to express yourself using that. And then what Kate, you just mentioned, the inner authority, how to make correct decisions for you, not with your mind, but with your body, because we all have this amazing complex organism that actually directs us always into things that are aligned, even when I make decisions and then they don't work out. These are the correct decisions because I had to learn the lesson. So if I don't follow my strategy and authority, I can end up in a real deep shit, and it's not for me to learn. It's just a mistake that just damaging, and I've learned again the hard way. I've learned that too. So following and learning what it is, and then experimenting. It's not a dogma. It's not some sort of like cult, or that's the way to do it, and we just put you in all these boxes. No. We're using a few labels just to identify some energies and some ways of being, and then you can just release those labels. You don't need to have them. You already will know when your body tells you, yeah, that's the thing to do. You light up inside, whichever way you're reacting, and you'd be like, yeah, okay. So if you're emotional, you'll wait a little bit, and then you still feel, yeah, okay, I'll do it. And there you go, green light for you. And this is something that's really amazing. So you just need a tip of the iceberg for your business and life to improve dramatically when you're dealing with human design. And then if you want to, and only if you really want to, and you have the time and the energy and the desire, then you can go deeper into the gates, and maybe even go into gene keys, which is like a deviation from human design. And it's all about contemplation. It's all about philosophy. For me, it's just way too flowery. my logical brain wants just black and white, and I think I'm here, like I'd open door to the world of human design. But I'm also that gatekeeper who says, now there's going to be a lot of stuff going on up there, you don't need that, this is the plan, this is what we're doing, and this is all you need to do, and you're going to see a huge difference, even in the way how you feel about things yourself, which is the most important thing for your confidence, right? And that's my role here, I feel, and that's we just need a little bit.
So tell me this, Juliette, as we close out. What if somebody is brand new to this whole thing? Maybe they've heard a little bit, but this conversation has sparked something for them. They want to learn more. They want to do more. What's the one most impactful thing that they can do in their business right now to put these strategies and to put these concepts into place? Is it finding out what your human design type? But what would you, if somebody could go do something right now, what would you have them go do?
Okay, I'm going to, and this is not a sales pitch, guys. Come to my website, and you can, there's a few things on my website that can help you straight away. Now, in order for you to have that one thing, you need to learn your type, and you need to really understand the strategy. So what are you here? How you meant to act on things, right? When is it a green light for you? And the inner authority, which says, is it correct or not correct for you as well? So those are the two things that they will change how you decide over time. You can't just do it like overnight, right? You have to experiment, you have to learn about, just feel into your body, but it will work and it will change your life. My business has been transformed since I am leaning back into my experiments, as I'm writing content and create and allowing myself to talk about myself a lot. And like, it's strange because I held myself back for years, even though I think I always still talked about myself. But now this is the energy that my brand attracts complete strangers. I have people finding me on Google. That didn't actually happen before. Even I was the queen of visibility, but I was just all Facebook, and it was hard work because you had to, I still show up daily, but it was hard work that it was the only place that I was focusing on. Now I can just wake up and, to sales. People found me from Google search, looking for marketing by human design and things like that. This is amazing when you are in alignment and then you're offering information with the voice that you are born here to, express yourself with. That's what I was talking about, all the lines. So there's a couple of things I can help you. On my website, there is a free course. And by the way, you can do it now, or you can come back next week because I just super updated it and I just need to like stick it up there. A free course on your business energetics, so your type and how this affects and how you can your strategy, you can respond to things, or what you need to do in order for this to be aligned. And then I would suggest order the marketing blueprint by design. By the way, if you just go to julietstapleton.com, it's in the menu, so you don't, and I'm going to give you a 20% off code as well, and it will be all caps 20MBBD, 20MBBD. And that's a code you can enter on the checkout page. And so you get 20% of that as well, just for your audience, Kate. And that's something that will give you this personalized report in very clear language, not too flowery, what you need to focus on, whether you should be building communities or not, all about how to show up, that brand voice. What are the energetics that are magnetic to other people in you? What do you need to lean into? And so much information that I'm sure that is going to instantly shift the way you are showing up in your business. So I hope that's something that you will find valuable.
I love that because it can get so confusing if you go down like the Google rabbit hole. Sometimes you just need somebody to give you like, here's the blueprint, follow this, understand this, and then you can go get your PhD in whatever you want. But sometimes you just need to start out with somebody who knows your industry, knows kind of all the things about business. So don't go down the rabbit hole. Go get this blueprint from Juliette. I'm sure it's brilliant. I'm going to go get it myself. And we'll put that coupon code too in the show notes so everybody can use it. And thank you for that. Everybody's going to love that. Where else can people connect with you? I know that you are super active on social. You have some of the best posts on my newsfeed. You guys, even my mother follows Juliette. Okay? My mother.
I love your mother.
Yes, she was actually
I
just
really
here. I
do.
was going to call her in, but she had to take my kid to swim class. I was going to be like, hey. But my mother loves Juliette and follows everything. I hear whole updates. Oh, did you see Juliette was doing this? Did you see she was in this
But
place?
she's
So,
brilliant too. She's so inspiring. I'm really inspired by your mom as well. So it's like this works. Facebook, guys. Facebook is where you can find me. This is the only network that I'm really active on. It's a by choice. You might see my posts somewhere else, but those are all reposts, and that's not really where the magic happens. And in fact, there's my unique perspective, my personal profile on Facebook. So send me a friend request, send me a message mentioning this show, so I definitely will then accept, because I don't accept everyone, because you know what, we are not for everyone and not everyone is for us, right? So that's the principle. So let me know in the messenger. I'm going to check all the message requests so that you watch this, so I know I can acknowledge you. I'm not going to sell you anything, so you can be at ease, and you can watch me doing my thing, walking my walk and creating content and things like that. And yes, if you want my help and you want the marketing blueprint by design, that probably is a really good, you can come back to it like in 6 months again, and you will see things that will stand out to you. So there's a lot of things that are there for you as well. But Facebook, Juliette Stapleton, find me, connect to me, or check out my website, julietstapleton.com.
well, thank you, Juliette. As always, you are a joy, and I hope you'll come back and talk about all things visibility, human design. Maybe we'll do some like advanced concepts or something like that once everybody gets addicted to human design after watching this. Would
Oh
you
yeah, you will.
come back and see us? Okay. Well, thank you, Juliette. We appreciate you coming in. Hey, everybody. Thank you for tuning into She's in Business. We loved this conversation with Juliette, and we hope that you'll tune in to the next one. We're trying to show up as much as possible, interviewing the top experts, influencers, and thought leaders in the business space who especially have something to share that's going to help coaches, online course creators, anybody who is an expert and is trying to make an impact and difference in the world. So hopefully you'll tune in to the next one. Go check out that blueprint from Juliette, and don't forget to subscribe and follow us so that you can watch the next episode and you won't miss any of the goodness. We'll see you on the next one.